I'm Emma and I'm a single short-term foster carer. I got my first placement in January of this year, so coming up to 6 months. I think for me it's really about being a consistent, safe base for a child. You know, you're the immovable rock in their life, the thing that stays the same when everything around them is kind of quite chaotic, particularly when they're first, become looked after children. I think someone who is really caring and has a huge amount of empathy, but a massive part is also someone who is really curious because, looked after children have had really difficult starts in their lives and they will do and behave in ways that is hard to understand, and I think you have to have a really curious nature to try and help them understand why they do the things that they do and why they behave the way they behave. I think there's often this illusion that you have to be this, superhuman, the ultimate mother figure for a child, when actually being someone who shows up consistently, is caring and, is able to set firm boundaries and create solid routines for a child, the actual positive impact of that can be huge. And we're human beings, you make mistakes, and I think showing children that, when you make mistakes, you apologise to them, you own up to days where you've not been perfect. That is what actually models for them what it's like just to be a human being in life. It's totally changed mine and my family's lives. I'm a single carer who didn't have any children of their own, so I went from having, all the freedom in the world to losing that, but gaining so much from having a young person in my life. There aren't, for various reasons, any children in my immediate family, and it's, completely changed our lives and brought us together, where my parents have had the opportunity to take on a more grandparent role. My siblings are getting to be aunties and uncles for the first time, and my young person just gets so much from that because they are the centre of our family's little world at the moment, and gets so much undivided attention which they just didn't have previously. So it's brought us all a lot closer. It's really been really positive for our whole family. It's so drastic, the difference, and at the same time you can't imagine almost what it was like before. I think, you have to have a much more rigid routine, but in some ways that's been really beneficial to me as well. I think I manage my own time better. I'm self-employed as well as a foster carer, and I have to manage how I do that better, and I think it's actually made me a bit more productive. But in general, it's just, your life is a little bit more restricted, but at the same time, you get to go and spend your weekends doing fun things and fun activities that you would never do as an adult. You kind of get to be a kid again sometimes as well, which is always nice. I think I just, as a single foster carer, I hadn't really seen that represented, and I wasn't sure what that looked like. And how I would manage that alongside working as well. And it's not that it's easy, because it's not, but it has been really worth it at the same time. So I'm really fortunate in that I met my supervising social worker at my initial training weekend. We weren't allocated then, but we kind of spoke and got to know each other a little bit. And I was really glad when she got allocated to me, because she, like me, she communicates very directly. She doesn't mince her words. If you've got a problem, she's very open, and she's very pragmatic as well. Like when stuff isn't being followed up as quickly as you would like, or if you're having difficulties with anyone else in the child's kind of supporting circles, she's really had my back with all of those things, and is there to be in your team, and I've felt really well supported by my supervising social worker. I would say ask the questions, inquire, because you just don't know. Like, I wouldn't say that when I first inquired I was like, this is something I'm definitely about to do. It was something that I knew I wanted to do at some point, and through having those conversations I realised that I was actually at a place in my life where it was it was possible, even though I had concerns about how am I still going to be able to manage my work, how am I, how does it work if you're on your own. So I think a huge part of it for me was just having those conversations, and the people who come out to your home and talk to you about it initially they're very honest with you, but they're very kind and they're very open, and that made a massive difference to me kind of diving into the deep end with fostering.